It was just another crowded day at the local Walmart, a routine grocery run for a young father trying to make ends meet. But as he waited in the long checkout line, his eyes drifted to the shopping cart in front of him. What he saw inside and what happened next at the cash register ignited a slow burn of disbelief that quickly turned into a furious rage. This was not a simple matter of personal opinion. This was a moment that would force him to break his silence and take a picture that would ignite a firestorm of debate across the entire country. But before we start our story, smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed and hit that notifications bell so you will not miss any of our new incredible stories. To understand the raw emotion behind this story, we must first understand the life of a young working-class American family and the immense, often invisible struggles they face every single day. Our protagonist is a man we will call Patrick Gibson. Patrick was a dedicated husband and a proud father of 2 young children, a son and a daughter. Like countless other Americans, he worked tirelessly doing everything he could to provide for his small family. He had chosen a path of service, enlisting in the U.S. Army, a decision that brought with it both pride and significant sacrifice. Serving his country meant long deployments, months away from his wife, Whitney, the love of his life, and their 2 young children. This constant separation was hard, but Patrick held on to a core belief instilled in him by his parents. Nothing in life comes without a cost, and hard work is its own reward. But even with a steady job in the military, providing for a family on a single income was a constant uphill battle. Every dollar had to be stretched, every purchase carefully calculated. For Patrick, grocery shopping was not a casual chore, it was a strategic mission. He would skip breakfast himself, making sure that the family's meager $70 for the week would last as long as possible. When you have 4 mouths to feed, $70 disappears quickly. After covering other essential household expenses like diapers, car payments, gas, and toiletries, the Gibsons were barely getting by. Patrick would often tell himself and his wife that it was okay. They were content with what they had. Somehow they would manage to make it work. They always did. It was with this mindset that Patrick found himself at his local Walmart, armed with a small remainder from his monthly paycheck. This was not a luxury trip. It was a necessity. As he walked through the aisles, he carefully selected items that were on special, doing mental calculations to maximize every cent. He examined the beautifully red grapes in the produce aisle, considering if he could perhaps afford a small treat for the family today, a rare indulgence to thank them for their patience and understanding during these lean times. He was willing to spend every remaining penny to bring a small moment of joy to his wife and kids. He selected the grapes along with a few pieces of his children's favorite candy. The Walmart was, as usual, an abundance of people. Children cried loudly, weary mothers pushed their carts, and inconsiderate shoppers jostled for space. Patrick, with his scant groceries, nudged his cart toward the checkout line, eager to finish his shopping and leave. As he waited, his mind still working through whether he could truly afford the additional grapes and candy, something caught his attention. It belonged to another customer, a couple in front of him, but it stood out, demanding his gaze. Patrick watched a touch of wistfulness in his heart as the 2 shopping carts in front of him slowly progressed down the long queue. They were stacked high, overflowing with groceries. He saw fresh steaks, thick-cut bacon, gourmet cheeses, succulent shrimp, and even lobster. Every luxury item he could think of was piled high, spilling out of not 1 but 2 full buggies. As the couple began to place their opulent haul on the counter, Patrick muttered under his breath, "Must be nice." He never anticipated that his casual observation would quickly turn into a profound and public expression of anger. The couple's groceries were packed and tallied, and it was no shock when the figure that appeared on the screen was a staggering $800. Patrick was astonished. He watched as the man reached into his wallet to pay. The man set aside a thick bundle of $100 bills and then reached for something else. Patrick initially assumed that the other shopper had simply done all of their monthly shopping in a single massive trip. And he told himself that while it was an expensive haul, it was ultimately none of his business. He thought he must be doing well to afford all that until he caught sight of what the man actually took from his wallet. The man took out a card from his wallet. It was not a credit card. It was something else entirely. He handed the card to the cashier. She looked at it, then gave Patrick another strange, surprised look. What was going on? Patrick was unable to identify the issue. It was a bright state-issued EBT card, the modern-day system for what used to be called food stamps. It is a government welfare program designed to help low-income families afford the basic necessities of life like bread, milk, and vegetables. And the man was using this taxpayer-funded card to pay for his $800 feast of steak and lobster. Patrick, who had served his country and often skipped meals to feed his own children, felt a hot, profound sense of injustice wash over him. He had seen enough. In a moment of pure, unadulterated rage, he quietly took out his phone. To understand the depth of Patrick's fury, you must understand the complex and often controversial world of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, the official name for the food stamp program. It is a vital social safety net that helps millions of struggling families put food on the table. But the program is also at the center of a fierce national debate. There is a widespread public perception of fraud and abuse fueled by anecdotal stories of people using their EBT cards to buy luxury items, while hardworking taxpayers struggle to afford their own groceries. But the most painful and ironic part of this debate involves the very community that Patrick belonged to, the United States military. It is a shocking and little-known fact that a significant number of active-duty American military families are paid so little that they actually qualify for and rely on SNAP benefits to feed their children. At the same time, many other military families like the Gibsons, who struggle just above the poverty line, are deemed to make just a few dollars too much and are denied the very benefits they see others using. For Patrick, this was not just a random shopper. It was a symbol of a system that he felt was broken. A system that was failing the very people who were sacrificing the most for their country. Despite his anger, Patrick bit his tongue and said nothing. He took a picture of the couple's overflowing carts and another of his own meager purchase. He paid for his items and walked out, his mind still reeling. But the final straw was yet to come. As he walked through the parking lot, he saw the same couple leisurely loading their massive haul into the back of their car. It was a brand new Hyundai Genesis, a luxury sedan that Patrick estimated cost at least $15,000 to $20,000 more than his own family's modest vehicle. The sight of the expensive car was the final insult. The feeling of injustice was now overwhelming. He knew he had to do something. He had to show people what he had just seen. That evening, Patrick vented his anger on Facebook. He posted the two photos side by side, his 3 small bags of groceries on the left, and he began to write. "The purchase on the left is mine," he wrote, "including diapers for my family of 4, which I paid for with cash that I worked very hard for." He then described the picture on the right. "This purchase was made with food stamps," he continued. "I would not mind if I did not see the person push aside their large fold of cash to get to their EBT card and then watch them load it all into the back of a brand new Hyundai Genesis." The post exploded. In a matter of days, it was shared over 100,000 times and received thousands of comments, igniting a fierce nationwide debate. The majority of responses were overwhelmingly supportive. Thousands of people shared Patrick's sense of outrage and recounted similar stories they had witnessed themselves. But a significant minority of people criticized Patrick, accusing him of judging a stranger without knowing their story. Do you really know their backstory? One commenter wrote, "She suggested that the new car might have been a gift or that the family might be going through a sudden temporary hardship." But Patrick had an answer. He wrote that the likelihood of that being the case was, in his opinion, as low as the likelihood of his own struggling military family ever being granted the government aid they had been turned down for. In the end, the story of Patrick Gibson and the Walmart checkout line was not about one couple or one grocery purchase. It was about a single captured moment that perfectly encapsulated the frustrations and perceived injustices that millions of hardworking people feel every single day. His simple, angry photograph became a lightning rod for a much larger and more complex national conversation about work, fairness, and the social contract. It was a powerful reminder that in the age of social media, a quiet moment of personal outrage can, with a single click, become the voice of a nation.